When you think about AI, what comes to mind? You probably picture silicone chips, endless lines of code, massive data centers. But what if the next giant leap in computing isn't about building faster chips? What if it's about using living cells? What if the future of AI is actually biological? Let's get into it. This quote just nails where we are right now with AI. It has exploded onto the scene with these almost magical abilities. But as neuroscientist and physicist Surya Ganguly points out, it's also, well, it's strangely alien. It makes these bizarre mistakes that you and I never would, and it seems to lack that deep, logical reasoning that really makes us, well, us. And that really brings us to the core paradox of AI today. See, the engineering of AI has raced so far ahead of our actual scientific understanding. We've managed to build this incredibly powerful tool, but in a lot of ways, we're completely flying blind. We don't really get how it works under the hood. And that lack of fundamental understanding, it's pushing us down a path that is, frankly, just not sustainable. Because hiding beneath all those superhuman abilities, modern AI has this massive, almost frightening appetite for two things: data and energy. I mean, just look at this comparison for a second. The scale of the difference here is just, it's astounding. A big large language model is trained on something like 1 trillion words. Now you, over your entire lifetime, will probably hear or read about 100 million words. It's not even close. Compared to AI, we are all unbelievably efficient learning machines. To put it another way, if you actually tried to sit down and read the training data of a modern AI, it would take you 24,000 years. Let that sink in. This isn't really a path to smarter AI. It's just a brute force approach that demands impossible amounts of data. And then there's the energy cost. Your brain, the most complex object we know of in the entire universe, it runs on just 20 watts of power. For context, as you can see here, an old-school incandescent light bulb used 100 watts. Yeah, we are all quite literally dimmer than a light bulb. Meanwhile, training a single large AI model can chew through 10 million watts. That's a massive carbon footprint, and it's why there are already serious plans to build dedicated nuclear reactors just to power the data centers of the future. So what gives? Why the huge difference? Well, digital computers rely on pure brute force. They work by flipping billions of bits perfectly and incredibly quickly. But the laws of thermodynamics tell us that speed and reliability cost a ton of energy. Biology, it took a completely different path. It's kind of slow, a bit unreliable, but it computes the right answer just in time. It never wastes energy by revving its engine more than it absolutely has to. So, okay, if our current path is so unsustainable, where do we find a better one? Well, the answer seems obvious, right? We look to the most efficient intelligence we know of, the human brain. And this idea is sparking a whole new, interdisciplinary field called the science of intelligence. Now, let's be clear, this isn't just about building a better AI. It's a much bigger quest to understand intelligence itself, in all its forms. By bringing together fields like neuroscience, physics, and computer science, researchers are trying to figure out the fundamental principles of both biological minds, like ours, and the artificial minds we're creating. So what's the brain's secret sauce? Well, it really boils down to these key principles. First, incredible data efficiency. It learns so much from so little. Second, just unmatched energy efficiency. And third, and this is crucial, its computation is perfectly matched to the laws of physics. For instance, neurons naturally add up voltage inputs because that's just how electromagnetism works. It's genius, really. Now, this whole search for a new kind of computation, it might sound like some far-off theoretical thing. But what if I told you that what was once firmly in the realm of science fiction is now becoming reality? That's right, scientists and engineers aren't just taking inspiration from the brain anymore. They're taking the brain itself and fusing it with silicon. A true living computer is being built as we speak. Say hello to the Cortical Lab CL1. This is it, the world's first ever commercial biological computer. It literally runs on living human neurons, and it's creating a whole new class of AI called synthetic biological intelligence. So how on earth do you build one of these? It probably sounds like something out of a Frankenstein movie, but it's not as crazy as you might think. The process starts with ordinary human cells, say from a blood sample or a skin scraping. Those get transformed into stem cells, which can then be coaxed into growing into brain neurons. And then those living neurons are grown directly onto a silicon chip, fusing biology with digital hardware. Creating a machine like this, it just opens up a staggering new frontier. I mean, we are talking about direct communication between minds and machines, with possibilities that are honestly hard to even wrap your head around. This isn't just a new kind of computer, it's a completely new kind of interface with biology itself. The implications go way beyond just faster processing. They touch the very definition of medicine, cognition, and, who knows, maybe even consciousness. Okay, so what can we do with this right now? Well, in the short term, the applications are profound. Imagine taking a patient's own skin cells, growing their specific neurons on a chip, and then testing different drugs to see which one works best for their unique biology. This could totally revolutionize personalized medicine for devastating diseases like dementia or epilepsy, all while pioneering this new form of hyper-efficient computing. That's the commercial stuff, the practical applications. But, scientists, they're always going to push things further. The ultimate goal here isn't just to use neurons as tiny processors, it's to truly understand their language, to learn to not only read from the brain, but maybe even write to it. And what's incredible is, we're already doing it. In a recent experiment, scientists showed a bunch of images to a mouse while they were recording its brain activity. Then, using AI, they were able to decode those brain signals and actually reconstruct the images the mouse was seeing. And by the way, the reason the decoded images are blurry, that's what the world actually looks like through a mouse's eyes. But wait, here's where it gets truly stunning. They didn't just read from the brain. They figured out how to write to it. By activating the exact right pattern in just 20 specific neurons, these scientists could make the mouse perceive an image that wasn't even there. They could literally make it hallucinate on command. So when you put all of this together, the dead end we're hitting with our current AI, the incredible efficiency of the brain, and our wild new ability to meld minds and machines, it becomes pretty clear we're standing at the edge of the next great frontier. And the ultimate goal here, it isn't about building a better chatbot or some more profitable product. It's about a unified science of intelligence, something that's pursued openly in places like universities, where the discoveries can be shared with the entire world and hopefully benefit all of humanity. In the last century, one of our greatest intellectual adventures was peering outwards into the vastness of the cosmos. But in this century, it seems the greatest adventure of all just might be peering inwards, into our own minds and into the artificial ones we're creating, to finally understand the true nature of intelligence itself.